I'm Liz Langley. Welcome back to my now international video blog. We're shooting from Victoria, BC, Canada. And we have changed locations to show you even more of this gorgeous town. We are right now in Beacon Hill Park. And this is right in the middle of downtown Victoria. It's so pretty, and we're so happy to be here. And we were doing our list of the sexiest Canadians ever, and I wanted to stop here and tell you some of the runners-up because they almost made it, but they didn't quite make it into the top 5, but that doesn't mean they're not hot, hot, hot. So I'm going to start with Jim Carrey, who a lot of people think they like Jim Carrey because they're thinking maybe of Gus the Fireman. I don't know. I think he's gorgeous, and I think we've all already seen his orgasm face. I'm not sure, but if you go back in the archives of his stuff, I think you'll find it somewhere. And no list of sexy anything would be complete without Pamela Anderson, who is from right here in BC. And she's amazingly beautiful, the Jane Mansfield of the new millennium, I think. I saw her making Nanaimo bars on TV the other day and just fell in love with her all over again. And another sexy Canadian who I just discovered is Rick Mercer, who is a comic with gorgeous curly dark hair. And he's a really, really, really funny guy, and I wanted to put Rick Mercer on the list, not only because he's pretty cute, but because funny and witty is very, very sexy. And of course, no list of Canadian anything would be complete without Shatner, who now only needs to go by one name, and I was bullied into putting Shatner on my list. Although, I have to say, I did love his album, I think, that came out in 2004. Absolutely loved it. I love Shatner. Nothing wrong with Shatner. But I don't know if he might have slept with a few too many intergalactic aliens to be safe. So I'm a little nervous to put him on my list. And I wanted to put a hockey player on my list, and I chose to put Tim Horton on my list. I don't know how famous he is outside of Canada, but inside of Canada, the name Tim Horton is not only synonymous with hockey, but with donuts, because there is the chain of Tim Horton donut stores. And Timbits, one of my favorite things in the world, one of my favorite words in the world. In the States, you think of these as Dunkin' Donuts munchkins or donut holes or something, but the name Timbits I heard it for the first time in 1995, and it's always made me laugh. I love eating Timbits, but I love saying Timbits, and I just think it's hilarious that anybody would call anything Timbits. Anyway, here's some Timbits. Timbits. Anyway, I just had to include Tim Horton on the list of my runners-up. Now that I've made my junior high school joke about Timbits, I'm going to move on to my number 2 sexiest Canadian ever is Nathan Fillion. I think he started out as little Joey Buchanan on One Life to Live, and who knew he would grow up to be so absolutely, what a knockout he is. He's been on Firefly, he's been on Desperate Housewives, and movie Waitress was the last thing that I personally saw him in. Anyway, Nathan Fillion, thank God for Nathan Fillion. What a beautiful, beautiful, sexy Canadian man. And number 1 sexiest Canadian on my list is Sue Johansson. And Sue Johansson is my number 1 sexiest Canadian because Sue Johansson, for those of you who don't know, is a sex educator, and she's had her own TV show. She's been at this for a long time. Talkwithsue.com, I believe it is. It may be .ca. But the greatest thing about Sue Johansson is she makes all of our sex lives better by educating us about technique and mechanics and everything else. And being smart about sex is sexy. So Sue Johansson, sexiest Canadian of all time ever. I'm Liz Langley for Alice Lagoon, and before you submit in beautiful Victoria. Bye.